Luke 14:25 through 34, the cost of discipleship. Jesus paid an incalculable price for the salvation of sinners as the Romans executed him on trumped up charges. Luke 23:22. The Father substituted the death of his innocent Son for the lives of all believers, who are justly charged with the capital offense of sinning against the holy God. This substitution made it possible for a just God to forgive guilty sinners. This divine pardon cannot be brought or on, excuse me. This divine pardon cannot be bought or earned, but only received by grace through faith. Ephesians 2:8. The miracle of the gospel is that God would accept sinners because of what Jesus did through his life, death, and resurrection. The high cost Jesus paid for his salvation demands a high price for discipleship. Jesus clarified this truth when he said that whoever wanted to be his disciples must take up their cross and follow him. Luke 9:23. Jesus' disciples were to surrender completely to God and his will, just as Jesus submitted completely to his Father's will. 5:19. Then as now, the ones who desire to follow Jesus must obey him. Robust, robust, robust discipleship reflects a realistic understanding of salvation, the price paid, the pain borne, and the great gift delivered. Those who seek to follow Jesus casually have failed to think deeply about his death on the cross. While God gives sinners salvation freely, living a life of discipleship costs everything, as what is required is daily and complete surrender to God and his will. Jesus and the Sabbath. Genealogy. David spares Saul's life. After Saul returned from pursuing the Philistines, he was told, David is in the desert of Engedi. So Saul took 3,000 able young men from all Israel and set out to look for David and his men near the crags of the wild goats. He came to the sheep pens along the way. A cave was there, and Saul went in to relieve them himself. David and his men were far back in the cave. The men said, This is the day the Lord spoke of when he said to you, I will give your enemy into your hands for you to deal with as you wish. Then, then David crept up unnoticed and cut off a corner of Saul's robe. Afterward, David was conscious, stricken for having cut off a corner of his robe. He said to his men, The Lord forbid that I should do such a thing to my master, the Lord's anointed, or lay my hand on him, for he is the anointed of the Lord. With these words, David sharply rebuked his men and did not allow them to attack Saul. And Saul left the cave and went his way. Then David went out of the cave and called out to Saul, My lord the king. When Saul looked behind him, David bowed down and prostrated himself with his face to the ground. He said to Saul, Why do you listen when men say, David has been on harming you? This day you have seen with your own eyes how the Lord delivered you into my hands in the cave. Some urged me to kill you, but I spared you. I said, I will not lay my hand on my Lord, because he is the Lord's anointed. What? Excuse me. See my father look at his excuse me again. See my father look at this piece of your robe in my hand. I cut off the corner of your robe but did not kill you. See that there is nothing in my hand to indicate that I am guilty of wrongdoing or rebellion. I have not wronged you, but you are hunting me down to take my life. May the Lord judge between you and me, and may the Lord avenge the wrongs you have done to me. But my hand will not but my hand will not touch you. As the as the old saying goes, from evil from evildoers come evil deeds. So my hand will not touch you. Against whom has the king of Israel come out? Who are you who are you pursuing? A dead dog, a flea? May the Lord be our judge and decide between us. May he consider my cause and uphold it. May he vindicate me by delivering me from your hand. When David finished saying this, Saul asked, "Is that your voice, David, my son?" And he wept aloud. "You are more righteous than I." He said, "You have treated me well, but I have treated you badly. You have just now told me about the good you did to me. The Lord delivered me into your hands, but you did not kill me. When a man finds his enemy, does he let him get away unharmed? May the Lord reward you well for the way you treated me today. May the Lord treat you well for the way you treated me today. May the Lord treat May the Lord treat you well for the way you treated me today." Amen. Okay. "I know that you will surely be king, and that the kingdom of Israel will be established in your hands. Now swear to me by the Lord that you will not kill off my descendants or wipe out my name from my father's family." So David gave his oath to Saul. Then Saul returned home. But David and his men went up to the stronghold.